to do a roll call so you get everyone, or?
How about I call
Okay.
my list?
Yep.
Carol Carey,
Yes.
Paul Sebesta,
Here.
Amanda
Here.
Matusik,
I'm here.
Amy Hawansky,
Here.
Chris Zimmerman, Jonathan Marr.
Here.
Linda,
Here.
Chris just joined. He's popping on.
Okay. Daryl Bray. I saw Daryl.
Yeah, he was on.
Let's assume he's coming back.
He's
Amy.
there. I just look like we can't hear him. I just
Okay.
saw his mouth move, but we didn't hear him.
Amy Lamena
Right here.
and Faith Foley.
Here.
I had muted myself. I apologize.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
So I see 10 people.
Yeah, I think that's
Plus myself.
everyone. This is a good turnout here. Okay, so the first order of business is the approval of last month's meeting minutes. Did anybody have any comments or changes?
I had some small comments.
Okay, John, go ahead.
On page 2,
Mhm.
page 2, let me check. Page 2, line 42. The sentence after those sites, that should be were set without the H.
Okay,
Not were set.
okay,
Okay, and then on page 3, lines 102 and 103, there's a few very small typos. So starting on line 101, we have Mr. Zimmerman noted the Parks Master Plan needs to be updated. So needs an S. Then he stated, and then there is misspelled, should be EI.
hmm
And then going down the next, I'll continue, we go to the next line. They're interested in improving the habitat may be a competing interest to what the Parks Department wants. Instead of want.
hmm
And then line 108, we have the word that is repeated twice. I think we only want one of those that's.
Okay, yep. Is that everything you had, John?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, anyone else? I just had one on page 2, line 77. Again, just a typo. Ms. Robertson noted that the contractor is spending more than I think it should be originally planned. So just add the LY to it. Original. Okay, any other comments for last month's meeting minutes? And does somebody want to make a motion to approve them?
I'll move to approve of them.
Okay, and do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, and all in favor of approving the last month's meeting minutes, say aye.
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 Okay, great.
Aye.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor, Laura. I don't think we have anyone, do we?
Oh, we didn't have anyone, and I checked about 3 seconds ago, but nope, nothing.
Okay. So new business action. Is that kind? Yeah, go ahead.
So I have a variety of planning board projects for you guys. I'll just share them quickly. One of them I think we can table, but the State Street one is kind of a large addition to a building that goes between State Street and Albany Street. And this part of the building is going to be slightly higher because the grade is higher at State Street than Albany. So it's going to have exposed foundation. So the planning board asked them to do a plan that would shield the exposed foundation because it's residential properties on the other side. Clark and I talked to this property owner today because the only landscaping details he has on his plans are right now the foundation plans, which is right in here. This is where they're shielding the foundation. And it's really not a whole lot of trees. It's here we go. Fern, lilac, and fountain grass, which is probably great for shielding foundation.
Yeah,
We
and
can
That's not lilac. That is referring to the color. That's a sage.
Oh, a sage. You're right.
So that's going to be, really.
So that's even
small.
smaller.
Mhm.
So there's not even really shrubs over there. But like I was looking and I asked him what he thought, like, of trees here. And he said that he's willing to defer to us. Budget is an issue. But if we had some ideas, he would certainly work with us on them. But one thing that he really wanted to make sure that he didn't do was it's a guns and ammo store, and so it has a lot of security needs, and so he doesn't want to plant trees and things that would shield the building from being patrolled. So like if we were proposing trees, like if we proposed them like over here along the property line or in the corner where there was still like a long visibility to the building from both sides, and then he wasn't opposed to planting like shrubs and things in here, again, as long as it was very easily visible to police and security cameras and stuff driving by.
And when do we need, do you need this tonight, Laura, that recommendations, or what's the timing?
Well, no, well, it would be good if we can at least bring up some thoughts. He can always resubmit a plan. This is the first time you guys have seen this. I think maybe we showed this to you once without any landscaping plan.
Yeah,
But
I guess just a quick question here. None of these are shrubs. They're all perennials, right? So they don't
And they're all
necessarily.
painted right here.
Yeah, they don't. I guess the question is like the planning board is asking for seasonal cover of the foundation. Is that the objective that they are looking and trying to achieve here? Is just for clarification?
That's the reason. That's the second reason the planning board asked for the landscaping plan. It's referred to you guys anyway for trees, but I think that his engineer only heard the shielding of the exposed foundation.
Right. I guess my point is that it's only going to shield the foundation for 5 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're
You
saying.
know,
None
it's
of them
like-
are evergreen.
It's herbaceous vegetation that will die during the winter. So if you wanted something, I don't know how tall the foundation is. I guess I just wonder, should we just be rejecting this plan and saying, redo it to meet the objectives laid out by the planning board, as opposed to trying to pick plants for them,
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I'm embarrassed I didn't think of that. Yeah, that's absolutely not going to work in the winter.
Can you, Laura, can you zoom in like you did before to the the planting plan part?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
what-
I agree with Chris. We don't have to
Thank you.
necessarily pick the plants, but yeah, it's not meeting the full objective there.
Right, so they're really going to need some sort of conifers or evergreens if they want to shield it year round.
Right.
And even if they don't go that far, if you had shrubs, and the leaves fall off, deciduous, you would still have the branches sticking up. So even that would create a little bit more than what you have now. Do you know how far from the ground to the top of the area of the foundation that you want to shield?
I could probably figure that out.
Well, and what's tough is that we've kind of got two diverging purposes. We want to
Yeah.
shield the foundation, and yet from a security standpoint, you don't want it to be hidden from the cameras. And if you've got conifers and stuff near the base of the foundation, the cameras aren't going to be able to see so much.
Yeah, I guess that's why my recommendation is, your engineer or landscape designer should identify the vegetation that would be most appropriate then to meet those goals. So it's not within for us to determine what would best to fit there. It's just like we've laid out the goals and the objectives for this development. You need to figure out a way to meet them, right? I guess that's my kind of take on it. Because we can sit here and say, oh, well, maybe about this or that, or, well, that's their job. That's what they're getting paid to do.
Okay, I can show you guys. Yes, I agree with some of that, but I think it's okay to give them general comments like you know, the proposed planting won't shield the foundation year round. So please propose something that works for you that, you know, also works for year round. And then like, also we would recommend, you know, trying to do some screening to Albany and State Street or put trees somewhere and then see if they can fit them in. But I can show you guys, like, it's quite a bit of foundation exposed. It's here. Oops. This is it. So I don't know if it's actually fully measured, but this is the side. Oh yeah, here it is. So I can tell you exactly how much it is.
Laura,
It's
what is there any interest in decorative, like stone, just something that looks nicer than a poured foundation, making them put just like cultured stone up it along with vegetation?
Yeah, we could ask that. It's 5 feet 10
I mean,
inches
if aesthetics
exposure.
is the issue, there's other things that can
That's a really good
complement.
That's a really good point, because what they could do is a veneer. They could do
Right.
exactly what you're saying, a stone veneer, which is done all the
Right.
time.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Cultured stone. Yeah.
yeah, on the building itself, not at the base.
Right. Right.
And 5 feet is a lot of exposed area.
Yeah, you said 5 feet 10 inches, Laura?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to mute my.
So
I was
the
trying to mute
plants,
myself because of my child.
the plants that they had listed, like the grass, for example, that's only 2.5 to 3 feet tall in full maturity. So that's not going to achieve that whole full coverage.
Yeah. Okay. So 5. So so won't shield foundation year round. Consider cultured stone. Make sure to address the 5 foot 10 inches. Because I mean, I'm not an expert in this. This is probably like a what if thing, but I wouldn't think that shielding the foundation that close to the foundation would mess with security cameras and checking. I don't know. Seems like it should be okay still. I don't know.
And I think you may want to be very clear about stone, because it's a very easy thing to misinterpret and just think we're going to put some cobbles on the bottom, on the ground, right? But what Paul's talking about is veneered stone onto, adhered to the wall. And not only a comment about, hey, this won't shield it all year round, but even in the months when it's shielding it, it's not shielding the whole thing. It's only shielding 2 to 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah. Okay. I've got all of those. So I've got won't shield foundation year round, cultured stone adhered to walls, make something that's, make use of the 5 foot 10 inches. And then I just put a general add additional trees to corners of property or see what they could do there.
Mm-hmm.
Any
Okay.
other thoughts on that one? I think I can.
How much in that area where we think that they can put trees, how much space is there for them?
Oh wait, that might be the. Sorry, I'm trying to. Oops. What do you guys see?
The agenda.
Nope, that's the wrong one. I'm trying to share a window so I can mute myself if they're playing hide and seek at me. Here it is. Okay. Okay. Can you guys see the packet again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the question?
So in that area where you had suggested, hey, maybe they can, yes, right in there.
Yeah, like right in here, I would think wouldn't interfere with sightlines and things.
What's the dimensions in there? How much space do they have to play around with?
So that's what I'm going to estimate about 8 feet, 8 feet by 8 feet, probably.
No, I didn't. I checked the other person. I didn't go the other.
Laura, do you know if when they are they worried about people hiding in the bushes, or are they worried about people climbing a tree and jumping out?
So I guess the concern is just security because of what they sell. The police patrol it, and they need to have a direct view into the property. And there's also security cameras that need direct views of any movement on the property.
So I wonder if it's possible for them to add some, more slender deciduous trees so that really they would only be looking through the trunk at the base, right? And then it's easy to see on either side of that. It's not something a person could hide behind. And then maybe a slender silhouette on top, like a columnar tree, a narrow tree.
Okay, so I will put all of that in our first round of recommendations and then have them resubmit to us. Can you guys think of anything else?
I think that's a good first step.
Is it helpful when we go, how that we went to one location that was sort of kind of over by the CVS, I think over in that area of the world, on Balltown and not sort of in that section of the world. And we went over there and they were asked to put some sort of hedge screening so that the traffic lights of their parking lot didn't hit the other property. Do you find that it helped that a few of us went over there and kind of got a visual and kind of made some suggestions based on the visual we got? Is that helpful?
I think it is. I was trying to bring up the aerial so you could see. There's not hardly any trees in the area. Like between State Street and Albany, there's very little vegetation actually on all of the commercial properties there. So if we could get them to add a tree or two, I think it's very beneficial. But like if we could make them be slender or something, just because there's no trees.
Mm-hmm.
This is like right almost at the intersection where Balltown Road hits State Street.
Okay.
But it's the back side, the Albany side, where we're thinking maybe some will fit.
Yeah, because that's probably where there's more area to plant. Like just
Okay.
the other side is probably only like it's super narrow, like 2 feet wide maybe of where there's grass.
Okay.
So Laura, do you have enough to go on with that for right now? Okay. So shall we move on to the River's Ledge?
Yeah, and so like maybe in the meantime, I'll put these comments to them, and then if you guys get a chance to swing by the site, you can send me your thoughts on it as well. That's true of all of them.
Okay.
Okay, so River's Ledge really, this is just, there's a new building here and a parking lot there. And they wanted to make sure that because of the proximity of this building to the bike path, that it be shielded. And so we looked at this one before, and I think we said more trees, which they did do. So when we looked at it before, it just had one line. Now it kind of has two. They added number 5s.
Laura, where do we stand from them not following the plan?
I met with them and they apologized. They said that they had never been given the updated plan and that they understood where my frustration was coming from and that they would be, they had to anyway, but would move the trees that were planted incorrectly and will be replanting to the appropriate plan. And because I had gotten so frustrated with the process, I called in an engineer, like a town designated engineer, that the town hires to make sure that the town's interests are being protected. And he's been meeting out there with him regularly. And they were going to put paint on the ground to make sure that the planting plan was being followed and everyone was happy before they did any more planting and moving.
Okay.
So I don't think they've actually moved yet, but they're going to. And I know I have a message that I haven't listened to yet from our engineer that's protecting our interests. So that should be going okay. Hopefully.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of wanted an update on that before we move on to this one, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said to you guys, I told them it was not okay. It was initially like just a very frustrating conversation until we realized that they were working off a different plan than I had. That they didn't. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I gave them the tree council plan for sure. But in his hand, he did not have it. And when I looked at what plan he thought he was supposed to be using, then it made sense to me why he put the trees where he put them, because it was the old plan.
I'm not surprised. I had that same kind of problems when I first got to Union or Building Observatory, that they kept messages weren't getting through, and I had to go and point to the issues on the blueprints and everything. And just contractors, the message doesn't get through very well oftentimes.
It's hard because I mean I sent it to the contractor, and this is a sub. And so like I resent the email to the contractor with the thread when I sent him the plan that was supposed to be used. It was very clear which plan they were supposed to be used. And nobody was like, oh, oops. But the subcontractor was like, now I have the right plan.
Well, that's good.
Although interestingly, and I don't really know what he thought he was going to do with all these other trees, he had the correct ordering list. So he ordered the right amount of trees, but he was just going to, I don't really know what he was going to do with the other trees.
Well, at least we're on the right track now, it sounds like.
Yes. And
Okay.
I said to him, I used you guys. I said, the next time I'm coming out with an army of tree council people. And they were like, okay. So next time, I think if I'll let you guys know the next time I go out there, and then we
Okay.
can all check and make sure that it's doing better, that they're doing better. So they,
Okay.
so they added a couple of tupelos here and then lots more Norway spruce. So these guys are the tupelos. They added a couple more tupelos there. And then they added a whole nother line of Norway spruce there.
Wait, where are you pointing, Laura?
Oh, sorry. You probably can't see my cursor as well. These little guys,
Yeah.
the ones that kind of look like Mandela or something, those are 3 new tupelos that they put. And then before they just had 1 line of Norway spruce, and they doubled it because I think we said you need to double it. I think we had said maybe do something lower in stature, and they decided that they would just double the Norway spruce. But it probably achieves just about the same thing. I don't know. What do you guys think? Definitely a lot more trees.
Yeah.
And how close is it to the bike path? Where's the bike path?
Oh, sorry about that. It's pretty close. It's like, see, here's the corner of the building, here's the property line, and here's the bike path. So it's probably like 25, 30 feet from the bike path.
Mm-hmm. What do people think? Are you okay with what they're adding, the tupelos and the Norway spruces?
How tall is the building supposed to be?
I will look that up for you. Hold on.
Do we feel like Norway spruce is really?
Whoops. What was that, Daryl?
Paul, can you mute yourself, Paul?
He's muted now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Daryl, did you have something that you?
The Norway spruce will block the view from the direct sight line straight through,
Mm-hmm.
and they're fairly tall.
So all the planting here is going to go on the development side. There looks like there's a 4 to 6 foot high landscaped berm. So I don't know, is that just going to be grass on the berm, or is that going to have plantings? It says landscape. So does that just mean a berm with grass, or? One thing
So
I
they're
might have.
planting the trees on the berm.
Oh, okay, great.
I think that's partly to shield the direct line of sight from bicycles and pedestrians, and then the trees would be on the berm.
Great. Okay.
I wish we could get them to not use all those daylilies, but that might be wishing too much.
Well, I don't think that's wishing too much, but I still actually think they haven't submitted the finalized plan to me with 2 landscaping details. So because we have looked at, where is it? So we've looked at this plan before, except it didn't have this building and this screening. And we're just making sure that this new screening's okay. We had said like there's too much of this because they're doing the same planting on every single building, which means that they've got like 300 boxwoods and 300 daylilies, and they're supposed to be coming up with an alternate building planting plan. So at least all of these plans would be halved, so it'd have 2
Thank you,
different.
Laura.
Yes, and we don't have that yet. We
Okay,
should be
thank
getting
you.
that at some point soon.
Okay, so each building was going to have a different kind of theme or characteristic. They weren't all going to be the same with the
Right, this
with the
one's
planting
showing
scheme.
all of them the same. He's going to
Okay.
do at least one variation.
Okay,
It may just be 50-50, but that's still better than just one.
so are we okay with the tupelos and the Norway spruces?
Here, just
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
Okay.
good. Okay.
No
Yeah.
objections? Okay.
And then I'll remind him again that he still needs to send us I remind him every time I see him, but we still need the updated second housing plan. Okay. Let me just write that down for 1 second.
Mhm.
Okay, so the next one, I actually think I know we have a lot on the agenda, so I'm okay with punting this one. Like, they still haven't given us an updated landscaping plan on this, and this is the one where the tree council and the CAC and the planning board specifically wanted to see large trees in the right of way because this is a 3-story building. Clark pinged them again. He's like, we're bringing this to the tree council. We still don't have a landscaping plan. And the guy was like, I know, but it's going to take a couple weeks. So I'm okay with you guys just keeping this one in your mind and driving by here and there. I was thinking maybe they were just like not going to do a landscaping plan, but it sounds like they are, and we're just waiting for it. So if you guys are okay, I'll scroll through this one.
So can you give the address for that one again?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is
So we can drive by that.
yes. So this one is right on the top there. Oops, sorry. It's not on there. I'm sorry. It is.
Is that 2141 Eastern Parkway?
Yes.
Okay. 2141.
What
like-
is it?
Right now, it's a 1-floor condo
Like a one
for
and a half.
a
Yeah.
business office building. It's 1 block off of Palmer, I believe.
Okay.
And they're going to convert it to a 3-story mixed-use office on the bottom, apartments on tops.
Oh, it's 2147.
Okay.
You're close, Linda. And it's right across from the synagogue on Easter.
Yeah.
Like right
Across from the Weeping Cherry Synagogue?
Yes, it's right across from the Weeping Cherry Synagogue.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So there used to be in there like a little, it was like a real estate office,
Yes. Mhm.
Coldwell
Yep.
Banker in
Yes.
there.
Yep. And they had some big trees out front, but I believe they were ashes because they died. Like truly died.
Hmm.
They looked like they were ashes to me, I think.
So just to summarize, you're saying that we've received nothing at all yet and they are aware of it and they're working on it?
Yeah, I was
Mhm.
gonna say maybe we could just give them some comments to work off of.
Yeah. That
But
might be
I mean, and we can still, but they knew that they were supposed to. We pinged them and they said we're working on a landscaping plan. So we could give them comments, or we could wait
Yeah.
until we
And
see what
that's
they've
in-
got.
Yeah, why
That's-
don't we wait and then
driveway.
can't we comment on what they send us and revise it?
Yeah.
But we'll have something to work with.
Yeah,
And
That's
in the
right.
meantime, we could drive by and kind of see what makes sense.
yeah.
Okay.
This side, way down in the bottom, is the entrance to the Temple Gates of Heaven. So that's how close it is. They're right
Yeah.
across the street from each other.
Okay.
That might be a cherry.
Boy, it would be so nice to pick up on that theme.
The cherries.
Yeah, I mean, if they had upright, like some of the ones we used on Dean Street, if they had some vase-shaped ones and picked up on that color and time of bloom, that would be neat.
Monoculture.
Different species.
You just don't like flowering trees, Paul.
I didn't say crab apples, Paul.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
so the
Ace.
next one is Ace Hardware. And we had told you guys that we wanted them to spruce up their building and update their landscaping plan. And so this is what we got from them. I did a really detailed walkthrough with them. We can kind of like appreciate the pictures. Oops, sorry. Sometimes my thingy sticks. But like the ones that they're removing here are like, I think buckthorns or there's something invasive. Like these, the ones that they're removing really probably should go. And
Laura, I'm sorry, could you orient us to
oh yes.
Balltown? And
Yes. This is Balltown Road here.
thank
Up
you.
to the north is the First National Bank. And this driveway here goes to KinderCare, and the law building is to the south.
Mhm.
Right across the road is like the Sunshine Cleaners and the condos. So they this right now looks like the Wild West. You can kind of, this is sort of, oh yeah, here. This is like the scrubby nonsense over here. Some of these trees aren't looking that good. So you can actually, so you can see this is kind of the scrubby nonsense that they want to take out. And then, and I say nonsense only because I'm fairly certain they're buckthorn. It was something that I was like, you should just take this down when I was there. And then they would put some better landscaping in here.
Laura, just for a point of clarification, are they proposing to do this, or is this something that they were asked to do by the town?
We asked them to do an updated landscaping plan because they aren't, it's taking them a little while, I think, to bring the building up to what it was sort of proposed to be at the planning board, partly because they're supposed to put a greenhouse on the front and you couldn't order greenhouses during COVID. It was one of those weird things that was backed up. But they were supposed to like spruce up the building and things, and they really didn't.
Okay.
So yeah, so Clark and I went out and said, you have to do better, and told them that they need to do a better landscaping plan to us.
And then also, if I may clarify, originally we had asked that they do an alley of trees on either side of their long driveway. And then
Yes.
they claim that they can't do that because the line of the driveway has moved and there's not room for trees. I'm not sure. I think maybe I would like to see that to be proved to that that's true. But then if they are claiming that they can't put the trees there, then they have to put that volume of trees somewhere else. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of that.
I actually didn't discuss that with them, but I do think that that's fair. I was reading the minutes and I saw in the minutes that I had said I was going to reach out to the bank, which I didn't do, but I still can, because if the bank would give them a planting release, then they could just put those trees in there, just like we talked about. But yeah, I can bring that up with them, that if they can't put those trees there, they should put them somewhere else. I mean, just my personal opinion, you guys probably share it. They're proposing to plant 4 pear trees, which is not a great choice in my opinion.
I'm going to interrupt and say that's a hard no.
Yeah, and then 1 perennial garden. Like, I'm just saying, I don't mind them, just personally don't mind them taking down some of those things because they were invasive. And these 2 trees are really unhealthy. They're like silver maples, but they have like maybe struck by lightning or just not doing well. They don't have leaders. Like, you guys can go out and look at them. So like, I'm not necessarily opposed to the trees they're proposing to take down, but the replanting is pretty poor, in my opinion.
If they are going to have a greenhouse on the front, they way have to do better.
Yeah, right? Okay, I think so too. So let me make that note.
Yeah,
I think this is right by an important 4 corners in Niskayuna.
Yeah.
I think they have such a big area in front.
Yeah.
It'd be really nice, but 2 big stately street trees right there in the front of in the right of way there. What do you think about that?
This is a huge opportunity, Jonathan. You're totally right. This is an important corner, a well-known corner. It could be, I mean, they have the opportunity to make it stunning, gorgeous, beautiful, inviting.
I guess I would just, I realize this is a new development and that's why we're asking them potentially to do this, but I agree. And I would hope that maybe potentially we could create some continuity throughout the landscaping across this whole area, because it is kind of the center of Niskayuna. And currently my opinion is that it's not looking the best. So if there's a way that we can maybe get some of these landowners and these businesses to work together, such as the bank and the CBS, so maybe there can be something that can grow out of this. So I really like the idea of continuity, bigger trees, trying to create a look and feel for what it's worth downtown Niskayuna. So, and how it might tie into the new, once they redo at Knott Street, the new development there, right? So there's going to be some activity happening in this area. I don't know when that project's due to be done. So there might be some plantings and other features there as well.
They also have the opportunity to do something on either side of that thin walk that comes up. That was going to be their original driveway, right? But then they couldn't do it because it would go onto Balltown. The sidewalk. I mean, that could look amazing and could be just like, this could be the bar by which everybody else is set. This is an amazing corner here and could be quite spectacular. And also, I'm going to reiterate that we sort of kind of said, approve when we were talking originally about that long entranceway, that long driveway. And it was kind of part of the deal. Like, hey, that's going to be double tree lined. And now that's gone away. And I feel a little bait and switched on that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry because I did see that in our minutes last time and I forgot to follow up, but I will definitely follow up on that line of trees. And then I think like if you guys are on the same page on this, like if we kind of want to say a hard no to just planting 4 pear trees,
Right.
like we could say like come up with something way better, or maybe a couple of us could meet with him and then draw some things out on the plans and then have him redraw it. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, I'm always willing to meet with people because sometimes I think they just need a starting point, right? I mean, it's like, hey, I just don't know what to do. I don't know where to begin. And if we can give some ideas or some options to get them started, that might be helpful.
Yeah, and we could even like draw on the plan while we're out there because this is the first real plan they submitted. Great for a real plan, but probably still needs some work.
So what's their plan in the very front there on Balltown? It looks like there's not really much happening on the front.
Yeah, so really not much, right? These 2 trees, if you guys go out there, are really not looking particularly healthy.
Yeah.
And so they're portraying, and so to take those 2 down.
Wait, I thought it looked like they were going to just trim them. Front trees to trim is what it says.
These 2 they're trimming. These 2 they're taking down, I think, aren't they?
Can you zoom in on the picture of those 2 trees?
I don't really have a picture of these 2 trees. These here are the ones they're trimming.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when it's pink, that means they're taking them down.
Yeah, that's what the key says.
Yeah.
Are you able to zoom in on the ones they're trimming?
Yeah, that's these ones here. These guys are being trimmed. And this is where the greenhouse would go, like we're underneath the now open sign. These 2 trees would just be trimmed so that they're sort of nicer sight lines to the front of the building.
I think you may want to clarify that. Be very specific about that.
Okay.
Yeah, because once you cut, you can't put back.
Yeah.
Right? So your idea of trimming and my idea of trimming and their idea of trimming could be 3 different ideas of trimming.
Yeah. And that would help with probably a site visit too.
Yep.
Yeah.
In fact, you could do that because you can go and take marking paint and say, you can cut off these and no other ones, right? Because potentially there would be in like worst case scenario, you could be cutting, they could be cutting off a whole bunch of stuff that then renders the tree not good.
Yeah. Oops. And they're planning on keeping this tall tree that's right next to the building. Seems like a pretty cool tree, but to remove this cherry, the weeping cherry.
And what's the purpose for removing the cherry?
So it's because they're showing, which isn't on the plan, which I'm making a note, the sidewalk would go right where the cherry tree is, which it doesn't show the sidewalk correctly on the landscaping plan. Because it's not particularly unhealthy. They're old, but the weeping cherries aren't really that unhealthy. They're showing the sidewalk going right out to Balltown Road, but it's not ADA accessible. So the revised plans have the sidewalk coming out to here and then down so that it can be ADA accessible. And the only way to do that is to take that tree out.
Understood. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, so I wrote, we got to get the line of trees, and if they can't plant that, they need to plant them somewhere else. There's really no landscaping in the front of the building, and it's an important corner in our town center overlay district. So we'd like to see maybe some bigger trees up front. And then I wrote, maybe we can get the 3 properties together to kind of come up with a unified planting plan. Definitely no to the pears.
Yeah.
And, they need to put the final location of the sidewalk on the plan so you can see why those trees are being removed. And then I can set up a meeting with the property owners.
That
Okay.
sounds really good, Laura.
Okay.
And over on the one side, it says existing east trees to remove bush and small plant and replace with 2 limelight hydrangeas.
Can you show us what they're going to pull out?
Is that the buckthorn? Up, whoops.
Yeah, except that's the north side of the building. I didn't actually read that note. East side of building where bush and small plant are being removed. It seems to me like yes. I'm wondering if they may have gotten their directions. It seems like that would be. Oh yeah. It even says that over here. Yeah. So, sorry, my computer's frozen. It's up in the. It's actually on the north side of the building where they're taking kind of the scraggly ones down.
See, yeah.
This here. So they would replace some of these scraggly ones with the limelight hydrangeas.
With
But only 2?
with 2.
Yeah, so we should get clarification on that too. More hydrangeas.
Yeah, I think this would be as Chris, I believe you're the one who said it would, or Daryl, I'm sorry, I apologize, who said it could be a community togetherness. I think you're totally correct. You're totally correct on that. And this could really be just something that makes us super proud of this area of town.
I think that was Jonathan, but
Jonathan, sorry.
But Chris's follow-up, I think, is right what you were talking about. But yeah, we got in general, yeah.
Yeah, I was just quickly looking. I mean, this is a sidebar from this project, but I was just looking basically from kind of like CBS all the way to the high school. There are opportunities to create some continuity. So maybe that's a project that we could potentially think about. I'm not sure when, given that we have lots of projects on our plate, but I think that would be neat to be able to think about how can we create continuity along that Balltown, Knott Street corridor to give us a better kind of Niskayuna center, sense of place.
And Laura, maybe when we get, we do get money to plant trees, maybe we focus on that corridor in the next year or 2.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it will be timely because the planning board has a development potentially for between the WRGB and the CVS, and this one's gone in, and I'm I'm going to try. It's going to be something I've never done before, but I'm going to try and leverage code. against the ShopRite Plaza because so many of their ash trees died and they haven't replanted them.
Mm.
And I verbally said to them a couple of times that they need to do this, but they're basically like, make me. So I have to figure out how to do that. But theoretically, we're going to update ShopRite because so many of the trees died. We've got this one and then we've got another. So that's 3 huge pieces right there in the town center overlay
Yeah.
district that we're going to be working on with the next
Right.
year or two. So
Plus-
yes, I think that's timely and it makes sense.
Plus, as you're saying, it goes all the way back to CVS, and it goes to the little triangle made by Balltown and Van Antwerp, right, where the 3 cherries are. And unfortunately, they're not long for this world, right? We've talked about those cherries several times in the past, and they continue to decline. That also should be considered in that whole corridor.
Yeah, and I like the idea of unifying it all because, you know, we pick good, nice trees in this one spot and then other nice trees. But if we've got this long corridor, it'd be nice to really think of how that overall look and feel could tie together.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. That would be a great project area.
So,
Yeah, the WRGB is completely empty in front of it. Big piece there, no trees. Yeah.
mhm.
Just a quick shout out to you. Thank you, Laura. I was at Starbucks yesterday getting a drink, and I was like, when are they going to remove these dead ash trees? So thank you for noticing and then taking action.
Yeah, I've been trying to verbally get them to do it actually for over a year. And the realtor is very good about it and understands the issue, but just can't get the owner to voluntarily comply. So it's time for the hammer.
Mm-hmm. And I want to make a comment to even extend that corridor. Let's go all the way down to the curling club, which I used to be a member there, and the firehouse, all the way. That could be amazing.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Obviously, Balltown Road, State Road, but we definitely do have power over development projects and could work with the state. I like working with the state usually most of the time. So, yeah. Okay. So does anybody have any other comments on that one? I'll get a meeting scheduled and send it out to you.
If you
Okay.
set up, if you setting up a meeting, and just email us of potential dates.
Yep, I'll do that.
Okay, so on to the Dean Street planning. Talking about good news. 39 trees have been planted along Dean Street, and they're all planted. I don't know if people have taken a drive down. I did the other day, and I think it looks fantastic. And thanks, Amy, to all your hard work. You and Andrea really were out there
For sure.
meeting
Yes.
all the people. But I mean,
Looks great.
that's a big success story. So
I think it came out really well. There's one tree left, and that is the tree that y'all voted to do for Andrea's celebratory tree. So I ordered a Dawn redwood, and it came in. I'm not sure yet if Nick from Soil and Water has picked it up or if it's still over at Northern, but it is in. And so we have to figure out where that last tree is going to go in a park setting somewhere. Now, originally, Nick had said that he would, once we finish these 40 trees, that potentially we could be given 10 more to do in parks. And I almost passed out when I heard that because I was like, I can't do 10 more right now. And Laura, thank you. She said, okay, don't worry about that. Just finish this street and then we'll see if we get 10 more. But I talked to Nick a few days ago, and he said that in between that time, he was able to get in touch with the Schenectady School District, and they want some trees, and he would like to give them first dibs. And I said, yeah, please do. But he wants to reserve us if he cannot finish all of the trees that he's supposed to plant for this grant to fulfill the grant, he would like to be able to come back to us sort of like on a last minute thing and see if we would take any more trees. So potentially we could still do Grand Boulevard. We could do a park sighting if at the last minute he has more trees slots.
Can we do anything along Balltown that we were just talking about, or some of those street trees that could be planted? Laura?
I think that he would prefer, just from my interpretation, and I could be wrong, he would prefer a park setting even over Grand Boulevard, because we put so many on Dean Street that he was saying, he said, I think I'd like to see if you could get a park setting where a whole bunch of people could view them in that sort of setting. But certainly, hey, it's worth a discussion, right? And who even knows if we would be given any more.
What about in front of the high school along Balltown?
Oh,
Balltown
Where
is
that- where the
probably a
glass,
bit off limits for the county. They'll have, I think, a hard time getting approval quickly from the state to plant in Balltown Road and the school, really, because they've got that fence and some stuff. I think that focusing on that corridor and getting consistency is good, but I think it'll take some time to be able to plant a reasonable line of trees on Balltown always.
okay.
I wonder if we could potentially, just because I'm excited about that, others seem excited. Is that something that maybe at our next meeting we could dedicate some time to? Because it seems like we would need to figure out how to generate some funding, possibly through one of these projects, to come up with like a master plan. So like a master plan for the corridor.
Yeah, and have a landscaping plan like we ask these developments to do. We really need, and whether we can do that or we hire someone. I mean, Amy, I know you have the expertise, but not all of us do. But have a nice plan for central Niskayuna, downtown Niskayuna.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I know that's kind of a new thing to add to our list of already busy items after you guys came out with this great big tree planting project. But it is kind of a place that I think needs some continuity. So, but it seems like it would need a plan, money, being able to work with New York State DOT, which is complicated.
Well, and maybe we have an opportunity here to actually not have to do all this work ourselves. If there's a new development that's going to go and they're going to take a bunch of trees down, how we're normally like, well, then you got to replant. If there's really not room for them to replant, maybe this time we could be like, you need to look at, this corridor and your engineer come up with just a quick landscaping plan, and then we can work off of that and we don't have to do all that work. Just as we might just very timely good thought that we may be able to actually leverage right now. It's the right time for it.
Right, with these new developments going in right in that area. So if those developments, this is a planning board question, if those developments are generally affecting this corridor, then shouldn't we be comprehensively thinking about that whole space from the standpoint of street trees and vegetation?
Yeah, sure. You do that with traffic often, but why not trees? Like, I feel like that could very easily argument be made.
And then I have one more comment. I believe that we were able to plant trees for everybody who wanted one, with the final exception of a request came in after I had already ordered all the trees, and most of them were received and half of them were planted. And that person, I at the time I said, I don't know, Laura, I don't know if I can get there and get this one last tree in. So we were not able to get that one last house. So what we could think about is if highway department is doing any plantings, maybe we could go do through that. Maybe we could ask Nick from Soil and Water for one more tree for Dean Street. If he thinks he's going to need to put some in, more for his grant. And then I could go over and look at the house. I haven't even been to the house, so I haven't even cited it. We haven't called in the locations to see if it would be okay with gas and lines and sewer lines and all that. So we would have to start from square one for that house, but we could try.
Yeah, I can work with you on that. And I will put the downtown idea on the next agenda and also run past planning board if they would support us for leveraging that with the developers.
Now I have to do one more thing yet for the Dean Street project. I have to submit to Laura and the crew, like the little final descriptions of each tree so that the packets can be given to them. Linda's going to type up make these little packets and give it to each homeowner. So I still have to do that computer work.
And Amy, could you send that to me also? Because it kind of
Yes.
ties into our next item, is that we'd like to somehow publicize what we did on Dean Street, knowing that we worked with Schenectady County and it was their grant money, and Joe Landry was also involved. So politically, I'm not sure exactly how we do this, but I do think it's worth trying to publicize all the good work that was done on Dean Street, if we can. So Laura, you probably have the most knowledge as to how we go about doing that. And I'd like to put it up on our website also, or an email push.
Yeah, so I'd like to do an email blast. I think we should run our ideas past Nick and the county to make sure that we've got all the names right. But then also, in that we can talk about how much work the tree council put into meeting with the neighbors and stuff like that. I think that's a really important point. Like, I think this was probably one of our heaviest volunteer hour projects that I've ever seen. So I think it's really important to share that with the public. So like maybe as part of the public outreach, we could come up with just a first go and send it to Nick, and be like, can we share this with the county and see what their thoughts are? I think that the town is going to defer to really, as far as the county goes, make sure the county can put its portion in, and then we can talk about our portion and then do like a joint thing.
Okay. I can reach out to Nick or try to write a draft. Amy, that's why I wanted to know what trees we planted, because I wanted to put that in there. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to send you just the chart of the tree name. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
On top of the million hours that Amy put into it, her computer was also breaking down the entire time she was doing it.
Well, and I also want to recognize Amy, and Amy, you have to help me out here, but I know at the end of August 20th, you got recognized for, and I don't know exactly what the title was, but
Thank you. Yes. I was awarded by the New York State Nursery and Landscape Association. I was awarded Nursery Professional of the Year for all of New York State.
So yay. That's
Wow.
great.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's impressive.
Thank you. I got to go to the fair, state fair.
That's great.
I love the state fair.
Amy, could we put that in our thing just to recognize that one of our tree council members is also for the entire state, recognized entire statewide? Could we share that?
Yes.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
The nursery people were excited because, being from the Capital District, a lot of those awards end up going downstate, Long Island, and sometimes we don't get recognized up here,
Can I have the exact wording of that? Well, we were awarded, what was it? The
Nursery and Landscape Professional of the Year. So New York State Nursery and Landscape Professional of the Year.
okay. Great.
And it was from the New York State Nursery and Landscape Association.
Okay.
And maybe Faith, you can put it on Instagram too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're okay with that, I'd love to put that on there too.
Oh, and just a plug for Faith. I think she had reached out to get information about each of us because she wanted to put up information about each of the council members. We now have information for Amy, but if other people can submit to Faith, that would be helpful. So
I apologize, Faith. Did you send us an email? I apologize. I did not.
I did, yeah. if anyone is interested in it, it's just like, why did you join the tree council? What's your favorite tree? Just some stuff like that. I'll put my email in the chat, and if you want to shoot me an email, I'll send you the question.
Yeah, and Faith, maybe just resend it out so we have it. So
Okay, of
Thank
okay.
you, Faith, for doing that. Yes.
course.
I somehow missed that too. But yeah, if you can resend it, I can make sure that everybody's on the list there.
So that's everything with the public outreach. We should have a meeting. I'll try to set up a meeting for the public outreach subcommittee, but I think we talked last time that we did have a table at the farmers market, and we'll figure out what we should be doing something for the fall. One of the things Laura and I have just been talking about, but I want to have a meeting with the subcommittee is we're putting out the tree plaques of all the Arbor Day trees, and then maybe have like a little family hunt, and we kind of give hints of where the Arbor Day trees are, and they can go find the various Arbor Day trees and learn a little bit about each type of tree, because the plaques do give kind of nice information about the various types of trees and what they're used for. So that's just a thought, kind of as a weekend activity for families to do some point in time this fall. But I'll set up a subcommittee meeting so we can talk more about things for public outreach. So tree inventory, tree master plan subcommittee.
No updates, no progress. So we need to circle back around and record our notes and then pull together our plan here so that we can finish it by the end of the calendar year. Is it the end of the calendar year? Or yeah, I guess that's, yep. So we're on a sprint for the next 5 months. Just one quick note. I don't know if folks noticed, but we did in Old Niskayuna, 2 large trees had to be taken down at the corner of like Regent and Almeria. So the town came out on Labor Day. So with the saturated soils, this massive oak, about 40 inches in diameter, started to kind of tip and lean onto the power line at the corner of Regent and Almeria. And so they had to take that down. It was probably about 200 years old. I estimated, I counted the rings. So it was about 150, 200 years old, but it had been leaning. And then a large silver maple. So kudos to the, I got one of a photo, but on Monday, I know Labor Day, they were out there trimming this, it was hard work. So just FYI.
Wow.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all I have.
Okay. And tree planting, Amy?
Well, I kind of hijacked that one.
Oh.
Sorry. I sent you guys an email, and I mean, obviously nobody's obligated to come. It's 1 p.m. and this is an old subdivision, and I'd like the tree choices on the plan were, I think, borderline bizarre. But but anyway, that's our starting point for meeting with the developer. He wants to get those trees in the ground fairly quickly. He's using Cloverleaf Nursery, which is actually weirdly the same nursery that Rivers Ledge is using. So I'm gonna meet with him at 1 p.m. tomorrow and use that as our starting guide. He has all the utilities marked in the ground already. He does not feel like there's enough room to plant the trees the way that they're, like when you see the utilities, he doesn't feel like there's enough room. I don't know whether that's true or not because I haven't been out there, but if that is true, we can scout the surrounding area and say, well, okay, you can't put 2 trees on that, then put some on Ravine. So that's the plan for that one.
Can you tell us what that intersects, Laura? Napa Court?
Yeah. It's Napa Court intersects Ravine. I don't know why I can't. I'm trying to share my screen and it's just not working.
Where is that in life? Where's that? I'm not familiar with it.
Okay, so
not far from the
Aqueduct
center, right?
it's
Yeah.
like Anthony
Oh.
Street is the one that goes over to the Schenectady wastewater treatment plant. I can show it to you really quickly here. Let me zoom out. It's way up here. Oops.
Well, ravine goes from aqueduct up.
It's like right in here.
Okay.
Yeah, right now it has like 0 trees. It's Napa Court. So here's Maxon Road, Van Branken. Here's the town pool. This is Hillside. You know how Hillside becomes one way and hits Van Branken right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ravine goes between Banker and Napa is right off of Ravine. This is it right here.
Thank you.
So, and you can see even from this, it's been a really long time for this to get built out. So I think the subdivision's like 10, 15 years old. It's just taken that long for the homes to be built. So he was approved with 2 trees per lot, 24 trees total. But it just took so long to build all the houses. So he's putting them in now. So he's got this whole area staked out. But if you look at this one, he's saying that once you look at where the utilities are, you may not be able to fit all the trees just like this. And I'm like, okay, fine. We're not going to plant trees over utilities. That's fine. But we might be able to put some like right along here on Ravine, right?
Yep.
I mean,
Or in the center of the in this turnaround.
in
He's
the
got space
cul-de-sac
there.
as well. Yep. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to move them around if we need to. And like this kind of like, this is, I mean, I don't mean to be, it's a strange list. Yellow birch, yellow wood, American beech. I mean, American beech, like I love American beech, but I don't see them living that much because they get that fungus. I looked up yellowwood. It's very sensitive to salt. I'm not that familiar with yellow birch.
And
actually.
yellowwood splits easy. It's usually not a street tree.
Yes, I read that. It splits, yes. And then, I mean, I love white pine. I'm not arguing with the white pine. The sugar maple can be salt intolerant sometimes. So I was told him that we can be flexible. This doesn't have to be the planting list.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's tomorrow at 1 p.m. if anybody wants to come.
Okay. And what about the Blatnick sign?
Oh, that I just kept on the agenda because I was reading through the minutes. We're still allowed to do that whenever we want. But this is the same thing I told Amy. We might need to take a breath. Like we have been working really hard. So we'll just keep that one on our radar.
Okay. Anything else from the tree planning?
I want to just clarify, Laura, when you're doing your summary for Ace Hardware on your bullet list, could you please make sure there's some lingo about how they're trimming those 2 trees?
Oh, yeah.
So we don't over trim.
Yes.
Mhm. So anything else?
I don't think so, Carol.
Okay.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I can see. Well, we've done a lot, so this is good.
I know every house on Dean Street now.
Yeah, I bet you do. So, okay. Well, if we don't have any other news or updates, somebody want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Amy, I see that you've raised your hand. Anyone second? Somebody's got, okay, the other Amy. So thanks. Then we'll meet again virtually next month again, right, Laura? On the 14th.
I would plan for that unless you hear otherwise from me. Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. See you soon.
All right. Thanks, Carol.
Guys.
Thanks, Laura.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey, Laura.
Yeah.